Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Thomas. I work at a company called NovaCare, and this is my talk, more than 70 years of AI history in 15 minutes. Let's go back to the early 1950s. Researchers were already doing things we now would consider AI, but they didn't have that term yet. So they called it things like thinking machines, cybernetics, information processing, and even magic, perhaps. The term artificial intelligence, or AI, was first used exactly 70 years ago, in 1955, in the proposal for a summer research project at Dartmouth College. And this research project is now considered the founding event of AI as a research field. On the picture to the left, you can see the four organizers. Since then, AI had made its way into all kinds of domains, and I will now guide you through the history of a few of these domains, starting with LLMs and chatbots. In 1943, McCulloch and Pitts published a paper describing the first mathematical model of a neural network. And a few years later, in 1957, Frank Rosenblatt built a machine he called the perceptron, which was an actual neural network. The machine weighed 5 tons and filled an entire room. All the neurons were connected with physical wires, so adding another layer to the network meant a lot of new wires. And in an article in the New York Times in 1957, they wrote that the machine, quote, will be able to walk, talk, see, write, reproduce itself, and be conscious of its existence. So the expectations to AI were sky high back then, just like they are today. In 1966, Joseph Weizenbaum created a rule-based chatbot that mimicked a psychotherapist, and a lot of the users believed that the chatbot really understood them, and this effect is now called the ELIZA effect. Some of you will remember Clippy, Microsoft's assistant that appeared as part of Office 97, and for those that haven't tried it, it wasn't that helpful. In 2011, the IBM computing system Watson won the TV show Jeopardy! And in 2017, researchers at Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need, introducing the transformer architecture. In 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT and got 200 million users in just 2 months. And the T in GPT stands for transformer, described by Google 5 years earlier. In January, DeepSeek launched their new model R1, just as good as ChatGPT, but cheaper to run. And that wasn't exactly great news for NVIDIA's stock price. So to summarize the domain of LLMs and chatbots, the first neural network was described more than 80 years ago, and we've had chatbots for 59 years. Let's move on to the next domain and the history of self-driving cars. We're now going back a few hundred years to around 1480, when Leonardo da Vinci designed a trolley that was powered by springs. And this trolley could follow a predefined path. Fast forward to the World Fair in 1939. There, a concept of self-driving cars were presented with model cars, and the cars were being guided by electromagnetic fields embedded in the roads. During the 1950s, researchers continued to experiment with self-driving cars, but they all required modified roads with cables and magnets. This is a screenshot from a 1956 video by General Motors, where they predicted self-driving cars by 1956. During the 1980s, several self-driving cars were built. This is Vamorse from 1986. It used several cameras and could reach speeds up to 100 km per hour. This is Alvin from 1989. It was able to avoid obstacles while driving off-road. And Vamp from 1994 could perform automatic lane changes. Self-driving taxis were first deployed in Singapore in 2016, but they had a safety driver ready to take over. Waymo claimed that they completed the first driverless ride on public roads in 2015, but it wasn't open to the public without safety drivers until 2020. Now in 2025, we have self-driving taxis here in Oslo, but with a safety driver. I've tried them 2 times, and both times the safety driver had to take over and drive the car manually because they were waiting for a software update. Also, the taxi cannot stop where you want it to stop. It can only stop on predefined locations, so it can take you from one location you probably don't want to be to another location you probably don't want to be. Kind of like a small bus with bus stops. Tesla has been selling their full self-driving for almost 10 years, and in April they finally got approval for testing full self-driving on public roads in Norway, but only with Tesla employees behind the wheel. Also, the Tesla Cybercab will probably launch next year. It's intended for self-driving only, as it has no steering wheel or pedals. So, to summarize, self-driving cars. We've had self-driving cars for at least 39 years, and they still have some room for improvements, at least here in Oslo. Next domain, chess playing machines. I think I've seen one here at the conference. This is the mechanical Turk. It is a chess playing machine constructed in 1770. It appeared to play chess very well, but it was an illusion. As you can see, a chess master is hiding inside the machine to operate it. And this is of course not AI, but it shows that chess playing machines have occupied humans for a very long time. In 1917, a Spanish engineer built a machine that played an endgame with 3 chess pieces, and he also made several improved versions over the following years. In 1948, this guy, Alan Turing, created an algorithm that could play a full game of chess against a human. But he didn't have a computer to run it, so he had to compute all the moves by hand. Each move took about 30 minutes to compute, and he played at least 2 full games with his algorithm. 3 years later, Dietrich Prinz created a chess program that actually ran on a computer, but the computer was only powerful enough to find the best move if it was 2 moves away from checkmate. In 1962, Arthur Samuel created a program that did not play chess, but played checkers, and the program got better the more it played. He called this process machine learning. In 1997, the IBM chess computer Deep Blue beat the world champion Garry Kasparov. And in 2017, DeepMind released AlphaZero. It learns by playing against itself and can master games without being explicitly told the rules. So, to summarize, we've had computers playing chess for more than 70 years, and there has been no big breakthroughs since AlphaZero. Next domain, humanoid robots. That is, robots that look like humans. The first use of the word robot was in a play called Rossum's Universal Robots in 1920. The 3 guys to the right are supposed to be robots created from organic matter, and their purpose was to serve the humans. But in the end, of course, the robots killed all the humans. This is the robot Televox, created in 1927. It was able to pick up the telephone and receive not voice commands, but audio signals that told it to perform tasks such as turn on the lights or start the vacuum cleaner. In 1942, the fiction writer Isaac Asimov wrote the 3 laws of robotics. I've shortened them a bit, but I think the meaning should be the same. Don't harm humans, obey orders, and protect yourself. Up until now, the robots were programmed to perform specific and well-defined tasks, but Shaky the robot in 1970 was kind of a big leap forward. It could understand language, see its surroundings, and move around. It could also turn on the lights, open doors, and push objects around to move them. This is the Japanese robot Wabot 1, introduced in 1972. It was the first robot that could walk like a human. It could also pick up and move objects and communicate in Japanese. This is Pepper, the first mass-produced semi-humanoid robot, introduced in 2014. And it's semi-humanoid because it doesn't have any legs. It was used as a receptionist at several offices, and I actually worked at an office that had one. And if you remember IBM Watson that won Jeopardy, you could also buy a version of this robot with Watson inside. In 2017, Boston Dynamics created a robot able to do a backflip. And now in 2025, you can soon order a robot that can help with everyday tasks at your home, kind of like the creator of the Telebox imagined 98 years ago. We have Neo from the Norwegian company 1X. It has kind of a soft fabric surface. This is Optimus from Tesla. Not that soft, but probably better than smooth. And this is a robot from the Chinese company Engine AI, the first humanoid robot to perform a front flip. So, to summarize, except for the look, the legs, and the backflip, the robots are pretty much the same as Shaky the robot tried to be 55 years ago. Let's finish with some art and music. This is Ada Lovelace, the first computer programmer in history, and in the mid-1800s she wrote that computers could be used to generate music and poems. And today, when a computing system is perceived to be original and creative, it's called the Lovelace effect. Australia's first computer, the Sisserac, weighed 7 tons and were probably the first computer to play music, sometimes between 1951 and 53. Aaron was a computer program created in 1973 that created the drawings. This is a drawing from 1974 that is colored by hand, and the drawings got better and less abstract over the years. And the drawings were put on paper using a small robot like this, equipped with a marker or a pen. The inventor called this robot a turtle. In 2018, an AI-generated portrait sold for $432,000 at an auction at Christie's. In 2021, we got DALL-E, a service for generating images, and we got Midjourney the next year, more images. OpenAI launched Sora in 2024, so we could generate videos too. So, we've been generating images for decades. Let's see how well it works now. This is ChatGPT 4.0, and I asked for a person writing with the left hand. This looks like the right hand to me. I asked for a clock at 3:15 p.m. I'm not sure what this is, but it's not 3:15 p.m. I asked for the word fake and a circle around the vowels. It got the A right, but not the E. So to summarize, computers have been creating images for more than 50 years, and the images have gotten more realistic, but I still don't get what I asked for. So to conclude, from large language models to self-driving cars, chess computers, robots, and image generation, I see a pattern. The basic ideas of AI were formed decades ago, and even before it was called AI, and a lot of the early prototypes worked in principle. What has improved the later years are computational power, better algorithms, and the will to invest in AI, rather than completely reinventing what AI is. Today's AI may be faster, bigger, and better, and it's available to more people, but it stands on the shoulders of giants. The giants who imagined the thinking machines long ago and built remarkable early versions. That's the end of my talk. Thank you.